Welcome back to Blender, everyone. I am your host, the Housecode Gamer, and it's time for another massive Starship update, and I have been a busy little gibble. Let's start with the most obvious. The Horizon class. A reskin of, well, a ship that you'll see later on down the line, but let's just get to the point. It's a TMP version of the Olympic class. And I'd like to say I did a pretty good job at trying to clone it. I'm pretty sure it's not perfect, but, well, I suppose people will have fun with it. Next up, the Vesper. Yeah, I didn't include any phaser arrays, but then again, I'm not going to be including phaser arrays until I send it off. This is the Lost Era version of the Constitution from, STO. Effectively a Narendra Constitution Excelsior hybrid. And I think I did a pretty good job at cloning her. Probably not perfect, but, well, perfection is a tad bit overrated. Next up, the Shakir. There's a word for this ship, and it is pain. But I managed to get her done and make her look reasonably close to the ship we see in STO. The Rapier. Lost Era Saber, though the Saber herself is kind of Lost Era herself. Very late Lost Era, but still Lost Era. You can see obvious elements of the Narendra in the nacelles and all that. The Eerie. This one was kind of at the request of the Home Trek team, but as a bonus, it will be made available to anyone who wants it. Because, well, models should be made available to anyone who wants them. If you want to use them for game assets, 3D printing, go ahead. Just give me credit. The Narendra. Building this ship was not fun. The extremely, shall we say, curvaceous hull was not pretty. And I probably extended the neck out just a little too much, especially here with the torpedo launchers, but it also kind of looks like the original Ambassador as seen in show, and, well, maybe I'll rebuild it one day. Maybe. Doubtful, though. I must say, I hate the Wallenberg. Not my work on it, just the fact that it is what it is. See, this thing is supposed to be a Picard-era version of the Ptolemy. Now, I want you to look at the Ptolemy for a second, and really just look at it. You will see how simple, how stupid simple it is. It's just a saucer with a docking collar. And a couple of nacelles. And, obviously, a deflector dish, but that's kind of the point. It's simple. It's quick, it's easy, it's just meant to do the logistics things. Now, I don't want to insult Eves, Drexler, and company, but they made this thing a little too complex. There's too much things going on for a ship that is supposed to be simple, quick to build, and quick to ship out. There's too much going on. Detail is one thing, but this is supposed to be a Liberty ship on a space Liberty ship. And yet they overcomplicated it. Still, the Home Trek team will have their hands on it, and they're going to be happy. The Niagara. Making the Galaxy nacelles was not fun. But it could be worse. At least I was able to clone them and use them for other ships. Like the very upside down Freedom class. And yes, I included that little sensor array, mega phaser, whatever it is. Moving on from the scouts to heavy cruisers, we have, well, I think it's obvious. The Cheyenne. This was a combination of not fun, yet fun at the same time. And she will be freely available to anyone to use. The Springfield. Fun fact, anyone who wants the little understructure here, have fun. It's going to be included in the file. The Challenger, simple. Annoying to build, but it was what it was. The New Orleans. Arguably the most popular of the 359ers. The Mini Galaxy. And moving on to the 2280s, 80s and the late 70s, the Vesta. The Vesta was kind of annoying. And I mean, really annoying. It was the deflector dish. Purely just the deflector dish. Everything else was fine. Oh, remember when I said we were going to be touching on the Olympic? I built the Olympic. I didn't just build one Olympic. Well, technically I just built one, but that's beside the point at the moment. I built two. One with solid structure and the other with the ball. So, anyone who wants to play with saucer separation, go ahead. Have fun. And finally, the Excalibur from STO. Not the piece of crap Fannin boat that keeps popping up everywhere for reasons I completely fail to understand. The bloody thing is ugly and really should be removed from existence. I don't mean the STO boat. This one was just annoying. The secondary hull was a pain to get done. I had to do it in two pieces. The nacelles were a total pain in the rear end. And the saucer was just a complicated mess. Also, I really hate the deflector. Seriously. What was wrong with Simple Blue? You didn't have to force me to have a, well, sovereign deflector. It's kind of, it doesn't really fit a ship like this. Now, none of these ships are going to be textured. You're going to have to do that yourself, but there's a good reason for that. One, and the one reason is kind of obvious. I can't texture to save my life. Now, to be fair, I did try to make a texture for the Pioneer, but I kept drawing outside the lines. It drove me nuts, and I hated it. even when I tried to cheat using Blender and trying to use my modeling skills to overcome my other problems, well, that wasn't happening. The other is Aztecing. I think everyone knows this by now, but I look at fractal patterns like Aztecing and I get headaches. Fortunately, it's more subdued on the finished product, but looking at the raw stuff just hurts. And I kind of have to clean my keyboard for, well, let's just say my stomach does not like it. I'm not a graphic artist. And that's just problem number one. Problem number two is these are not just meant for one game. These are meant for a lot of games. For example, while this is labeled mostly as Home Trek and Trek Wars, those two have completely different texturing systems. I hate to say this, but I'm not good at that. You expect me to juggle two sets at the same time? There's a reason nobody does that. It's dumb. I mean, Empire at War uses 3. The standard set, the illumination, and a bump map. The Bridge Commander, that's the one I was thinking of. Bridge Commander, he only uses 2. Same as Empire at War, minus the bump map. Home Trek has 6. Well, Homeworld has 6. Both remastered and normal have 6. And juggling, and I can barely juggle Empire at War. Juggling 3 or more? No, that's dumb. That's unrealistic. Whether anybody likes it or not, it's unrealistic. But those are the primary reasons. I can't draw to save my life. Well, I can't draw with a mouse. I can barely draw with a pencil. Aztecing gives me nausea and eventual vomiting. And juggling 1 is pain. Juggling 3 nuts is worse. More is not only unrealistic, it's stupid. That said, I will allow anyone to use these things. You can 3D print them if you want. And if you want to texture them, go nuts. I will not stop you. If anything, I will encourage you. Now, I'm going to be building the Inquiry and a few other ships next, but, well, there's not much I can do about the rest. Now, you can hate me for not texturing these things if you want, but if the brain wants to break trying to deal with Aztecing, and you literally can't draw a straight line, what can you do? Housecoat Gaming, signing off.